Welcome back to another dose of self. Now, for those who weren't here last week, don't worry too much about it. I'm going to try and bring you up to speed a little bit. But what we're trying to do in these self-fitness classes is we're trying to just take steps. We call it the 5 steps. There's 5 steps towards a life with more joy, with more happiness. We want to try and make our way to life with less anxiety, with less feelings of depression, with less feelings of sadness, and moving really towards a life of much more light and joy. And of course, this isn't something which is done overnight. It's not something which is done, by a snap of the fingers. This is a work, this is a process. But this is something we're doing together and something which I think we're really enjoying. And I know that I got a lot of feedback from people from last week's class. What we did last week, for those who weren't here, was kind of bring it up to scratch. What we did last week was we really focused on this idea of inside out thinking versus outside in thinking. We talked about how for so many of us, we frame our lives with the perspective that what will make me happy, or what's going to make me anxious, or what's going to make me sad, or what's going to influence my mood is really purely the things that are outside of my life. That's going to be the people, my boss, my job. Hey guys, even the weather. And by the way, I'll put my hands up just to let you know that that's probably my biggest struggle at the moment. For sure, my greatest struggle is the weather. Like, I hate and I struggle very much with weather like this. Because I'll come back to that a bit later. I'm going to come back when it comes to reframing. But like, we always kind of seem to frame our world based on the idea that things that are outside of us are what builds our mood, what changes our mood. So someone is making a bit of noise. Yeah, that's how we frame our world, is outside in. And what we're trying to do here is introduce this idea that is actually not like that. It's inside out. It's inside out. Really, we have the choice. We can make a choice, and we can basically move on in our lives by understanding that really from the inside out, we can have and choose joy, and we can choose positivity, and we can choose life, and we can choose great relationships and great moods if we want to, because it comes from the inside out. So I just want to ask, I know one or two said to me that you found that was really helpful. So I love the idea of collaboration through these classes. I love the idea of sharing, because I think we're trying to build a bit of a group here. Now, I know one or two of you actually wrote to me. They only wanted to share to me the insights they had from last week, maybe till now, something that maybe they found was helpful, that changed sort of for them in the last week, that showed up for them in the last week. Anyone want to kind of share with us? It'd be, I think, really powerful if people did want to share. Anybody out there? Maybe? Emily.
Okay.
Yeah, Emily.
After the class, I don't know why, but like I was in this really good headspace. Just without going into too much detail, I had I don't know what it was. I was like in a very grateful mindset. And in the evening, I was feeling like really emotional, like really grateful of like my life. And yeah, I had like a really when you go to the cocktail and you have like a really profound feeling. Well, I basically had that after the class. It was very weird, and this has been like after 4 years of like learning this stuff, but I had like a big moment last Wednesday night where I felt I had like a transcendental meditation moment after the class. It was really cool. So thanks for that.
Right, that's amazing. No, amazing. But was that, do you think, I'm trying to get to, was that partly because this idea of like going from outside into inside out, was that part of what was going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was just, because it was to do with the fact that I was just thinking a lot about gratitude, and I realized that you can choose to be happy if you want to be. Like you were talking about people who obviously don't have a lot in their lives, but they radiate joy, and you can choose to be happy, and it has to be a conscious choice. And I was thinking about it a lot after the class, basically.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Emily. Anyone else want to share something that came out from the last week? That Steve, they just come out from the ducks here? Yes, Steve, go for it. Fed the ducks. Are they okay? They're looking very fat there. So go for it, Steve.
Goose, I think. I think last Wednesday I had a really quite a stressful day at work, and I remember just when you were talking about it, it gave quite a lot of clarity about it. I was being frustrated about doing a task, not really for being asked to do it or rework it or stuff. I was more frustrated with myself that I couldn't just like bat it away and try and get under the skin of it. So we had to do something similar later in the week, and I really didn't like let it phase me and just sort of got it done. And it was it was some good clarity to be able to understand challenges, where they come from and how they affect us.
Amazing. Beautiful. Very powerful. Thank you so much, Uncle Steve.
Go back to the top.
Anyone else want one more? Anyone else to share a little bit at all? Or we will move on. Anyone? I can't see if it's hands up or not. So, okay. So moving on with what we've talked about with the class so far, and we're going to go into next week. This week is class number 3, and like I said at the beginning, we're trying to go according to the parashiot, according to the books of the Torah. And this week we are going to be touching on the book of Vayikra. Vayikra is the 3rd book of Torah, and in the Vayikra, I want to focus on what I've called here, which is going to be tonight's class, your choice. It's called your choice to live a life of happiness with less judgment. It's your choice to live a life of happiness with less judgment. The reason I actually listen, the book of Vayikra is a lot of it is dealing with the sacrifices in the temple. It's dealing with laws of kashrut. There's lots of laws that are dealing with what's called tuma and tahara, purity and impurity. But there's also a vast amount of laws there dealing with what's called bein adam l'chavero, which is the mitzvahs between man and fellow man, between us all. And in chapter 19, verse 18, there's a pasuk there which is lo yisikom v'lo yisitor es bnei amecha v'ahavta recha kamocha ani Hashem. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against your countrymen. Love your fellow as yourself. I am Hashem. Now again, I think a lot of people are very familiar with this line. It's like one of the most, if you would ask people like, oftentimes when I give my class about the moon, I always start by saying, what do you think is like, the first commandment, the most important commandment given to the Jewish people? All the time people will say, oh, it's the command to love your fellow like yourself. But we see very clearly here that we have a mitzvah to love other people, to show love and respect for others. Okay. Now, also, by the way, at the beginning of the pasuk, it starts by saying "Lo tikon v'lo titor," which means don't take vengeance or bear grudge against your countrymen. So, firstly, don't bear grudges, don't take vengeance, but actually love your fellow. You have to love your fellow. Now, I think you'll join me in saying that this actually is far, far, far easier said than done. Okay, so many of us, I think, over the years have tried, to like say we're going to love and we're going to show, kind of patience to other people in our lives. But let's be honest, there's difficult people out there that we've got to deal with all the time, whether they're in our family, whether they're in our relationships, out of relationships, exes, non-exes, whatever. There's people out there that are very, very difficult. There are people in our everyday existence that cause us immense amounts of stress. And I would say a lot of these people also take away from the happiness in our lives. So let's talk again. Let's go back again, because I know some people were here in last week's class, some people weren't, but I think it's very, 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 very useful just to refresh again some of these concepts that we said last week. So we said, if you remember, that we're going to try and go from outside in, right? Outside in thinking, right? The idea of seeing the world from an outside in perspective. And we're going to go into inside out, the idea that you can make the choice. You have the ability to make choice from the way that you see the world, the way that you perceive the world is how you will process it, and therefore how you will react in any given situation. We mentioned this beautiful line from Rav Kook in Arsa Kodesh, who says, if you just take a quick look at it, a human being is a creature of desire, and his character becomes more complete precisely through the nature of his will. His happiness is in the desiring of the good, the nature of his good and holy will, and through this a person resembles his creator. So we're going to the level of trying to even resemble Hashem. A person finds himself in great happiness, bereft of any sadness, when he recognizes that he only needs to direct his will to the good. The thought that happiness is dependent on external things, this is the real take home, right? The thought that happiness is dependent on external things or beyond your grasp is a false notion which fosters depression. The uprighted ones are eternally happy. Okay, so the thought that happiness depends on external things. And we spoke about this quite a lot actually. We mentioned that, you know, that a lot of the issues of the stresses people have is that they think, when I have this, I'll be happy. When I get to this point, I'll be happy. When, you know, and that's really drummed into us from when we were kids in primary school. If you've got to get to the right secondary school, to get the right degree, to get the right job, to get the right pay, what do you call it? The pay range, pay scale. And then from there you have your mortgage and your job and every these things. And then only then will you be happy. Only then when you be happy. And really, this is what something Serena, I don't mind, if you don't mind me saying, Serena, you said so beautifully last week. We were talking a little bit after class, and Serena said something so powerful, and it's so true, is that happiness isn't the end point. Happiness is the journey. Happiness is the journey. It's knowing that you are on the right path. It's knowing that you have, for yourself, you have something to aim for. You know, many years ago, actually not many years ago, I'm kind of dating myself, but in 2011, I decided something a bit nuts. Hey, that's just my life, really. That's what I do all the time. But I've got a couple of mates that are a bit crazy, and we decided to climb the highest mountain in Italy without much training, as you do. So we did it for charity, and we went to the place called Gran Paradiso, which is the highest mountain inside Italy proper. Okay, and it's quite funny. My two mates were all like, one's like ex-British cadets who trained for the Royal Marines and got accepted. The other one was ex-Israeli Special Forces. And there was me, like kind of ex-eating in the cafeteria, like kind of plodding along, trying to come along with it. And they made fun of me, no end. They kept on saying that, like, they're going to have to, they kept on saying they had like the phone number of the helicopter rescue team to get ready to come and get me, you know, because I was like the weakest and like the one that was most likely to fail on this ability to climb the mountain. Okay, now here's the story, guys. We got this cool Italian, guide to come with us. His name was Daniele. Daniele was our Italian guide. And he said to us, guys, when you're climbing the mountain, but it was very cool because we had like, it was all the gear, no jokes. It was like proper crampons, ropes, you know, the sunglasses, the whole shtick. We stupidly didn't wear suntan lotion and got burnt to a crisp, but that's a different story. But anyway, so he said to us, guys, when you're climbing the mountain, okay, you go one step at a time. You go one step at a time. Just one step, one step, one step, one step, one step. Okay, and enjoy the ride. Just go one step at a time. Now, of course, when you're walking, you have to have sort of in mind that the goal of roughly where you're going to. You don't just walk aimlessly nowhere. You have to know you're going in a direction, and you kind of pace yourself and go towards the direction you want to get to. Okay, so what I did was I listened to him and I went one step, and just enjoyed as I was going, taking a look to the right, look at the left as you go a bit higher. I don't know, I'm sure loads of you have climbed mountains in the Alps before. I know Delphine is probably, Delphine's climbed Machu Picchu, so we give her some sort of credit for that, right, Delphine?
I went to Nepal to the Annapurna space camp.
Ah, okay, fine.
5,000 meter high.
That's pretty impressive. Thank you, Steve, for coming in the middle of the class. While it's recorded, that's okay. I say good night. Thank you. Bye-bye, Steve. Thank you. Good night. Okay, right. So yes, you Annapurna base camp. That's pretty impressive. I have to say, even that's massive, right? So Steve, you climbed any mountains in the past, or no? I know you did. Like you once went to Primrose Hill.
Never climbed. Not Aviemore. What's the one in Scotland?
I don't remember. Anyway, Ben Nevis. Okay. Anyways, so listen. So here's the story, right? So I was walking. I listened to the tour guide, to the guide. Look left, I look right. I enjoyed it. You go higher and higher. It's amazing. You start seeing the other peaks. You start seeing the world around. My mate, and I'm not gonna say which one it was. I think you might know them, maybe not. So my mate, the ex-Israeli Special Forces dude. Yeah, so he's going like straight for the top, and he's taking these massive long steps, like massive strides, as they're going on like one step, like trying to get to the top as quick as he can. And basically, the one who made the most fun of me ended up having altitude sickness and was like out of it and couldn't do it. And he was like complaining he couldn't actually focus at all. He was gone, right? And by the way, this is brought out as a book, in the famous book of the 1960s. That was called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle. Was it motorcycle fixing. I think it's something like that. Zen and the Art of Motorbikes, something like that. And there was like some author went also to the Himalayas in the 60s. And he said the same idea there. He said he went with these monks who were much older than him, far, far older, far, far less healthy. And thanks, Daria. Okay, Daria climbed the Corcovado. I don't know what the Corcovado is, but it sounds pretty cool. But so this guy went to the Himalayas and he went with this bunch of monks and they all climbed. And they were far older than him, far less healthy and far less fit. But yet they basically enjoyed the journey. They took every step and enjoyed the journey, whereas he was busy kind of trying to get to the top, get to the top, get to the top. And of course, he fell sick, and the monks who were much older than him were totally fine. So the same sort of idea is we're so busy with our eye on the goal, we can't actually find ourselves, we can't come to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. That is what part of being happy is. Serena, does that kind of summarize what we said last week in quite a good way? Do you want to add to that a little bit, or? No, I knew you would. Okay, but, yes. So Luke, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a similar story actually. It would show. So basically, I climbed Mount Kinabalu in Borneo, and I was waiting to start, and then randomly this guy turned up, and he was a Jewish guy from Northwest London. Never met him before, and we sort of slowly climbed up the mountain, and you're supposed to have a guide. He basically ran off, and we didn't see him again. And the whole point is you really take your time, build the altitude, blah blah blah, and then you get there for sunrise. So you see the sun rising over the South China Sea. And about 2 years later, I bumped into him in a shul in London, and basically he went off without his guide, got completely lost, had to get rescued from the mountain, so missed the the whole experience. So he was trying to
so busy,
trying to get to the peak, because he basically climbed the Andes and he thought he knew it all, and he thought he didn't need the guide, etc., etc. But yeah, very similar story.
Beautiful, amazing. So here we go, guys. Now I'm saying all these things, we're listening to it, fantastic. But let's work. How are we going to make this a reality? Because the truth is, for so many of us, we're struggling through the days, right? We're struggling through the days, right? If you take a look at the world as a whole, it's never been better in terms of materialism, and I'm talking about in the Western world or in the modernized world. We've kind of got everything we need, but we're missing so much, and we've got to work on these kind of strategies, so to speak, and ways to be able to get to inside out as opposed to outside in thinking. And just sort of kind of share some things with you. I mean, I don't know how many of you would say that happiness is something you've either got or you haven't got. Has anyone here ever kind of either felt or seen in other people that happiness is something that's genetic, that either you get it from your parents or you don't get it from your parents, something that you inherit this? Has anyone seen that before? People say, oh, people's parents aren't happy, so I'm not going to be happy.
I think there is an element of conditioning, though, maybe how you were raised and how you were brought up, but it's not genetic as such.
Mm-hmm. Right, so it's very interesting. Take a look here. This is, I don't know how many of you read this book. This is a book entitled Why Be Happy by Sonia Minsky. Okay, I don't know if anyone, I can't unfortunately see everyone's faces now, but I don't know if anyone has actually read this book. It became very popular. In fact, she's got a whole app now. There's a whole science behind her book called Why Be Happy. But she is a psychologist who had tons of research. She spent many, many, many years actually doing the psychological research of this. And she said the factors influencing chronic happiness levels, they found that 50% of it was actually from genetic tendencies, 10% was from circumstance, and 40% of it is actually from intentional activities. You actually, so it's half of it is, she says very clearly, there is some sort of genetic tendency to kind of be, you find some people that they're going to be very positive. Their parents are very positive. They always see the positive in everything that's happening. Okay, and that goes through to the children, or the opposite. The parents or the grandparents are negative. They don't look for the good. They don't see the good, and that can kind of go to the kids. But here's the point, guys, that it's only 50%. It's only 50%, which means that you actually have the choice, at least at 50%, which I believe, obviously, over time, takes over to the full 100%. That we actually have the ability to choose whether or not we want to be happy. There's I I don't know how many of you have heard, I'm sure you, again, I don't know for sure, but many of you, I wouldn't be surprised to know that many of you have read Man's Search for Meaning or are aware of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, yes, no, some of you? Viktor Frankl was the famous Austrian psychiatrist who was in Auschwitz. He was captured by the Nazis, placed in Auschwitz, and he created a whole entire school of psychology called logotherapy. Logotherapy is the idea that when you have meaning, when you have a reason, when you can assert meaning or give meaning to a situation, then you can deal with it. In other words, if you have a why, you can deal with any how. And Viktor Frankl went after this, an amazing story, not for now, but remind me guys, I do want to tell you this story one day. Viktor Frankl was about to give up his whole project. He was about to give up the entire thing until he got a message from the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the 1950s, I believe, and to keep going. And his book, Man's Search for Meaning, is now one of the most popular books in all sort of psychology. And he says the following. This is like so vital. It's just like one short idea from Viktor Frankl. This is what he says. Can I ask someone to read? Let's have Jay. Do you want to read for us here? Dr. Viktor Frankl, go for it. Read for us.
I've got that. Where are we? Even in the toughest situations, the one freedom which no one can take away from you is the freedom to choose your spiritual attitude, to clarify your unique sense of greater purpose, and to pursue your daily quest for human dignity, no matter how badly others are behaving.
Okay, now this is someone who went through like Auschwitz. Okay, he went through the most base violence, the evil of the Nazi death camps. And he says, even in the toughest situations, the one freedom which no one can take away from you is the freedom to choose your spiritual attitude. I'm going to say that again. The freedom to choose your spiritual attitude, to clarify your unique sense of greater purpose, and to pursue your daily quest for human dignity, no matter how badly others are behaving. No matter what's going, again, this is probably, I would say, is the most, I think probably the clearest and maybe the most helpful statements of inside out thinking that I can think of. Even tougher situations, the one freedom which no one can take away is the freedom to choose your spiritual attitude, to clarify your sense of greater purpose. Okay, you have the choice. Now, basically, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. There's an entire school of psychology now. It's called positive psychology. You can now take a degree just in positive psychology. It's an entire school which is based on the idea, like Dr. Frankl is saying, that we have the choice. You can make the choice to decide how you want to see the world around you. And we're going to call it the capacity to reframe. You know, any given situation, you have the capacity to reframe it, to find the strengths and not the weaknesses, to identify the gifts and the successes in any given moment. Now, I'm fully aware, by the way, that most of us were not brought up in this way. We were brought up, I think, with that critical mind. We were brought up in a critical way, whereby schooling, whereby, you know, sort of the Western world, you know, as you all know, in the jobs that you've had, there's a lot of criticism. If you mess up in your job, you're going to get punished for it, so to speak. I hate the word punish, but you're going to have to pay for mistakes that you made. Okay, and when it comes to relationships, especially, that's a really big one. You know, so many times it's so easy. I don't know. I'm sure none of you have. You guys are all basically tzaddikim, so it's not. This isn't really relevant to you guys because, like, you're tzaddikim, right? But there are people out there that they'll go on dates, and afterwards they'll come back and they'll be able to tell you everything that was wrong. They'll be able to list you everything that didn't go right with that person. Then you stop. Hold on a second. Well, what was good? What was actually good about that person? What was nice about the person? Nah, I don't know. I didn't see it. People aren't looking for the good. They're not looking for the tzad tov. In every situation that we're in, we can reframe it and look for the good. So here's an example, right? I'm going to give you an example from my life, yeah? I always used to find that when you turn the clocks back, it used to just trigger in me in October time, like a negative feeling, a negative sensation. The clocks get turned back, winter's coming, can't stand winter, winter's cold, winter's dark, winter's rainy, winter's bad, right? And basically, I found myself that no matter what happened, as soon as the clocks went back, I would fall into like a negative mood. I would fall into a bad mood just because I knew that winter was coming. And then it came to me, this understanding that actually this is a choice I can make. I can choose whether or not I want to be sad and upset and depressed about the fact that winter's coming, and instead maybe look for the good things. So I reframed it and started seeing, you know what winter means? Winter means that actually Friday nights can actually be like much longer with family, with you guys that come around and spend those Friday night dinners with us. You can start a little bit earlier. You can have more time. There's more time with the family. There's beautiful long Friday nights. They're so wonderful. There's so much to enjoy those Friday nights. And yeah, even the winter holidays, like spend the time together. You know, it's cold outside, but there's something quite warming about all us being inside as a family. And I started just to try and look and reframe it and see the good. And I realized that I had a choice. And this is the part I'm trying to bring out to you guys. I had the choice. I could make the choice whether or not I wanted to feel bad and depressed about it, or whether I wanted to just kind of look for the good and look for something positive. I don't know if anyone has anything in their lives where they've seen this, but they've been in a situation whereby they could be, you know, the worst thing. You know, they gave a, I remember reading a report about this here in LA. There's terrible traffic in Los Angeles. And they presumed that if you're in LA, you hate traffic. That's just the way it is. You know, if I would presume, as all of you would, that, you know, people hate sitting in traffic jams. So you'll be surprised to know that UCLA, they did a research on this, the psychology team, whatever it was going to be, and they interviewed people that were going in the traffic jams. I don't know if they did it by like going through as they were sitting in traffic, like asking questions with a piece of paper. I don't know what they did, right? But they interviewed people in the traffic jams, and lo and behold, it wasn't 100% of the people that said they can't stand traffic. You had a percentage of the people that said that they don't actually mind it, that it's a time for them to listen to music, they actually enjoy the radio. They kind of know that they're going to be in traffic, they've got over it, and they use it maybe to speak hands-free, obviously, to friends and to do catch-up. And the traffic isn't something that really bothers them. So we see that we can be given situations and we can reframe and find the positive. We can reframe and find the good. Now, I want to share with you a line. This is from Rabbi Nachman of Breslev. Rabbi Nachman says this, it's a great line. Here, take a look at this, yeah? Absolutely beautiful. He says this is Logotherapy Moharam. It's the one down here at the bottom. In Hebrew, it says, Derech Hashem Yitbarach labit al tovot she'osim. Ashin nimtza b'hem gam ken ma she'eino tov lo mistakel al zeh. So in Hebrew, that's the Hebrew. Someone read English for me? Anyone want to like volunteer to read the English? It just gives my voice a break for 5 seconds. Thank you so much. Yeah, Chloe, go for it. Thanks for volunteering, Chloe. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, the second block, right?
In English, the way Hashem.
Oh yeah, the way Hashem acts is that he looks at the good things that we have done. And even though he could, if he wanted to, find things that aren't so good, he doesn't go searching and looking for those things. So
this is massive stuff, you know. We're kind of taught, and it's a bit of a shame because a lot of us, kind of our experience of Judaism, our experience of Hashem has been very much about like going to shul on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now, if you want to find any time of the Jewish year where you're going to be confronted with a judging king, with a judging God who's looking for the bad, the best bet is Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Because the whole thing, all the prayers there are about like, God's judging you, God's book is open, the book of the righteous, the book of the not righteous. There's any time of the year where you're going to think that you're actually going to be kind of being judged by God, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Okay, and that's problematic for us. So we come away for a whole of our lives with this feeling that we've got to be careful because, like, you know, in case, you know, those of us who, again, profess a belief in Hashem, we've got to be careful because, you know, God's going to judge us and, you know, God's watching what we do. We've got to, you know, we've always got to kind of, you know, kind of make sure, be careful, whatever. A lot of people then come to reject God and reject Judaism, reject the whole shebang, because who wants to live with that kind of guilt? Who wants to live their whole lives, the feeling that there's like, is God watching over what you're doing and you've got to be careful at every step. And if only someone would actually introduce this line from Rabbi Nachman to us at an earlier stage and say, you know what? Derech Hashem labit ala tovot shasim. It's the way of God to look for the tzad hatov. The way of God to look for the good. To look for the good that you're doing. And even though if he wants to, we could see lots of things that aren't so great. He doesn't go ziching, that's Yiddish for looking. He doesn't go ziching, searching around, looking, trying to find the things that we've done that are bad. Rather, he looks and accentuates the good. He looks and accentuates for the good. And this is such a powerful idea, because for us as well, remember, we are all created, the Tselem Elokim, we're all created in the image of God. We're all created in the way that we're meant to resemble and act in a godly way. So same thing with us. You know, think about for a second, just how much in our own lives we go around and we look for the bad. We're seeing the bad. There's a great metaphor for this, by the way, fantastic metaphor. You know, the guy who's like looking out of his window and he sees his next door neighbors washing on the line. And he says to his wife, I always like the idea, I know it's going to be northern. Are there any northern? Okay, Serena, I hope you don't mind. And Sophie, but it's going to be northern accent alert coming up right now. But there's a guy who's like looking out the window and he sees his neighbors washing on the line. And he says to his wife, ew, duck, neighbor's washing is really dirty. I can see it, it's all brown and dirty. The neighbor's washing is terrible. And day after day, he's looking out at the washing. He's like, oh, the neighbor's washing has gone really bad. It's terrible, isn't it? Terrible washing. Maybe I should say something to them, duck. What do you reckon? Should I tell them their washing machine's broken? It's a terrible accent, I'm sorry. So he's like trying to work out, should he tell the neighbor that the washing machine is either broken or the washing powder is like not very good or what have you? Right? What should he do? Until one day he realizes, help me out here, guys. One day he realizes that, help me, somebody. Come on. One day he realizes that
he needs to see the positive. He needs to turn it around in his eyes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But you're jumping in five steps. We're on a metaphor now. We're in the world of metaphor, Nicholas. But good try. Come on, we're in the world of metaphor, Chevra. One day he realizes what?
Maybe it's his windows are dirty.
Oh, Delphine, merci beaucoup. Sac bleu, merci. Avema, ça c'est superbe. The people that brought us Citroën, Renault, and Peugeot bring us the answer here. One day the window cleaner knocks on and says, hey, mister, your windows are really dirty. And he rubs the windows, and of course the windows are completely brown and covered in dust and dirt. And he washes the guy's windows, and lo and behold, what color is the neighbor's washing? White as white could be, das white. Okay? So he's been looking at the whole time and seeing the neighbor's washing is being dirty, but no, it's because his own window is dirty. His own window has not been cleaned, right? And this is what's going on. We're looking out so much at other people, other people's actions, and we're looking at the bad and looking and accentuating the bad things that are happening and looking at the bad things, the things that aren't right. By the way, there's lots of studies of this in psychology about how people will look at a situation, right? And they'll look for the bad. Like, for example, if you have a white page and a little black spot, you're going to notice the black spot more than the whiteness of the page, because your mind, your brain is activated in such a way to see what's missing, to see what's not there, to see what could be better. And we're so critical of ourselves, and we see the bad, we don't see the good. We're looking at what's missing in our lives so much, and not just for ourselves, but other people as well. Think about it. There's so much judgment that goes on, looking at other people, how they're not behaving, how they're letting us down. We see so much that's negative in others. By the way, that's why if you take a look, actually, I'm not going to bring it now, but the rest of that Rabbi Nachman quote is actually very interesting. He says there, just as Hashem only looks for the good in us, so too we should look for the good in other people as well. Don't go looking and searching for the bad. Okay, caveat, obviously, if someone is a very bad, evil person, don't like turn away and say, oh, I'm sure they're really nice. You've got to be clever. You've got to have a mind on you. Don't be silly. Don't be stupid. But the idea is that we can choose to look for the good. We can choose to find the good in any situation, in every situation that we're in. We can make that choice. And you say, how? And the answer is by practicing it, by practicing seeing the good, to practice looking for the good. There's a lovely little kind of mantra here. I've got homework for you today, guys, just to warn you. But here's a mantra for you. Look at this mantra, yeah? Every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. Every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. Everybody close your eyes 1 second. Close your eyes for a second. Close your eyes. I want you to think of something good that happened to you today. Or something good that you saw today. And once you've thought something good, just put your hand up so I know that you thought something good. Once you've thought something good. Sophie's got her hand up with the glass there, and Julia too, but okay, didn't take so long. I think almost all of you got your hands up. I can't see Delphine's hand, but okay, fine. Okay, your hand is up. Thank you, Delphine. Okay, fine. That wasn't so hard, right? It wasn't so hard. So the question is, like, can we look for the good in any given moment as we're living in real time, looking for the good? Because the more we practice looking for the good, the more we are basically cleaning our windows. And the more we're doing that, the more we're choosing for goodness, the more happiness and joy we will bring into our world. The brain, right, the study of neuroplasticity tells us that we can rewire our brain. We can rewire the way we see. We can rewire our experiences. You can have someone who's normally very negative, someone who's normally very, kind of seasoned, says, they can only see the bad. Those people can rewire their brain and be positive, happy people. It can happen. You can do it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do meditation. We're going to do like a nice deep meditation. So I'm going to ask you, we're going to kind of practice this together, meditation wise. Okay, we're going to be doing an observe, separate, connect one. So for those of you who are familiar with this, it's great. I know Gav Rubin, I know Gav had to go, but for those of you who've done this before, you're going to enjoy it. Those who've never done it before, you're going to enjoy it. So bear with me. If you've never meditated, just relax, enjoy yourself. Okay, this is going to be fun. So all I ask you to do is just stay present. If you've got your phones, I know one or two do have your phones on you, and I know one or two are checking your phones. I can't unfortunately control that because you're in different places around the world. Otherwise, obviously, I'd come and smash your phones, in front of you. But I can't because I'm physically not able to do that. But if you can, try and put your phones on airplane mode or away just for this experience. You can either have your phone, you can have your videos on or off. Okay, whatever you want. But I do ask you just to try this out with me, okay? Just try this out with me. Okay. So I want you to realize that what we're trying to do here is come to a place of finding the good in ourselves, washing the windows down so that we can see the love and see the good in ourselves. And part of the way we're doing it is just by relaxing ourselves and coming out of an experience which is just, I guess, a galus, an exile of consciousness and coming back to ourselves. So sit down if you can, just lay down whatever you want, make sure you're comfortable. Take a big deep breath in through your nose. And then out again. Big deep breath in. Make sure your back is straight. You're not leaning forward. If you can, make sure your back is straight. You're sitting up in your chair. Don't be slouching or anything. Right, that's it. Make yourself comfortable, Jay. Good man. Make sure you're comfortable. That's the most important thing. You guys, your minds are going to race. I know. Don't worry about it. There's no right way or wrong way of doing this. Just try and see where you get to. Okay, big deep breath into your nose. Feel the cooler air coming in. And as you breathe out again, notice the air is warmer. Big deep breath in through your nose. Already feeling calmer. And then breathing out, just let go of all the toxins, let go of all the tension, let go of all the stress. We're doing something so precious here. Life is so busy. Zoom calls, job interviews, dating, so much going on in our lives. This is an opportunity just to get quiet, opportunity to just to get calm. Once again, big deep breath in, fill your tummy with air completely. Like it's gonna burst. And then breathe out again, just gently let the air out. Your skin tension is going down, blood pressure is going down. Don't worry if your mind is racing, it's cool. If ever you feel like your mind is racing, just come back to your breath. Come back to your breathing. Just feel the air coming in through your nose. Relax, hold for a few seconds, and then breathe out. Anytime your mind just races, just come back to your breathing. Breathing in, and then breathing out again. Fantastic. We're going to do a quick body scan. We haven't done this for a while together, so just when I mention different parts of your body, just focus on them with your mind, touch them with your mind, and send them to sleep, okay? So going with the right foot, I want you to touch with your mind the big toe of your right foot, its shape. Be aware of your big toe of your right foot, touch it with your mind and send it to sleep. All the toes of your right foot. Your foot itself, just be aware of it. Your heel, your ankle, your shin, calf muscle, just be aware of it. Touch it with your mind and send it to sleep. Your right knee, your right thigh, beautiful. Anytime your mind is racing, just go back to your breath. Focus on your breath coming in through your nose and then out through your nose. Now to your left foot, your left big toe, all the toes of your left foot, your inner step, your outer step, your heel, your ankle, your shin, your calf muscle, your thigh, the top part of your leg, until now your whole two legs feel warm, heavy, relaxed. Now your right hand, just be aware of your right hand, send it to sleep. Forearm, elbow, upper arm, your left hand, left forearm, left upper arm. Beautiful. Your tummy now. Touch it with your mind. Just be aware of your tummy. Let go of all the stress and tension there. Moving up your chest, your neck. Let go of all the tension. Let go of all the stress. And now your back. Moving up your back, vertebrae by vertebrae. Moving up, up, up. Let go of all the tension and stress. Your right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade. Your right shoulder, left shoulder, neck. So now everything from your head down feels warm and heavy and relaxed. Your right ear, right inner ear, right cheek, jawbone, the right side of the face. Just warm, heavy, relaxed. The left ear, the left jawbone, the left cheek, Left part of the face, warm, heavy, relaxed. Your chin, your mouth, your tongue, your teeth, your nose, your nostrils. Let go of all the tension, relax. Moving up, your right eye, your left eye. Let go of all the tension. Wow, so peaceful. Let go of the tension in our eyes. Moving up the forehead, the top of the head, and over the top of the head now. So everything feels warm and heavy, relaxed. The whole body now feels just in a state of relaxation. If your mind starts to race, just come back to your breath. Focus on your breath coming in and your breath coming out. I want you to now, in this beautiful state that we're in, practice the ability to get quiet through the process of observing, then separating, then connecting. I'd like you to just observe, what are you physically feeling right now? Just be aware, what is it that you're physically feeling right now? Like your body against the chair, feeling of an ache or a pain, something's not feeling right or something feeling good. Maybe you're feeling actually really physically good right now. What are you physically feeling? Is there an itch, scratch? Is there an irritation? Uncomfortable? Very comfortable? Just be aware of what you're feeling right now. Become aware of your feelings, of what you're feeling physically right now. Now we're going to move up a level. And I want you to become aware and to observe, what are you feeling emotionally right now? What are you feeling emotionally right now? Where are your emotions? Are you feeling excited? Bored? Are you feeling elated? Sad? Unsure? Anxious? Hopeful? Just stay there for a bit. I want you to observe that emotion or emotions. Just observe it. Remember, anytime that you're feeling a little bit out of it, just come back to your breath. Come back to the in breath and the out breath. So be aware of your emotions right now. Observe your emotions. You're feeling a little bit lost. You're feeling a bit found. You're feeling worried or actually feeling happier than you have for many, many months. Now let's go up to the highest level from the moment, which is, I'd like to try and observe your thoughts. What are you thinking right now? Where are you in your thoughts? What are you thinking about right now? I always find a good way to sort of help with this is to imagine yourself sitting on a couch or a beanbag or something, and imagine there's a screen in front of you, which is where your thoughts are being played out. So you need to imagine each time a thought comes into your head, that you're literally seeing it being played out in front of you on a screen. Notice it. Just take a look almost at your thoughts coming to your head. They might be flying in very quickly, one by one. They might not. They might be sticking around. But what's thinking? What are you thinking about right now? Where are your thoughts? Where are you in your thoughts? Just observe them non-judgmentally. It's hard work, it's not necessarily easy. Just be aware, see where your thoughts are at. And these three levels of physical feelings, emotions, and the flurry of thinking, the flurry of thoughts. I want you to take a big, deep breath in now. And as you do, after 3, we're going to take a big, deep breath after 3. And when you do, I want you to lift yourself up. I want you to lift yourself up out of that world of emotions, feelings, and thoughts, and up to a higher level, a higher plane where you're looking down, lifting yourself up and detaching, separating, coming back to yourself, to your true ratzon, to your true will, the true you, as you lift yourself up out of the arena of thoughts, of actions, of emotions. Lift yourself up to a higher sense of being. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Lift yourself up higher. And now, when we separate, we can connect back to our source. The Neshama, Tehorah, the pure soul. And in this realm now that we're all in, we can make that bechira, we can make the choice. We're going to look for love. We're going to live love. So I want you to think of somebody right now who maybe till now you've only looked at some of the bad things, or you've mainly seen the bad. We think of someone out there that maybe they're close to you, but you notice a lot of their faults. You notice the things that you don't like. And I want you to now just try and think of one thing about that person that's good, that's really good. I want you to think of something that's really good about that person. Okay? As you breathe in now, just think of something really good. Think of a person that maybe that you've overlooked, that you see a lot of the bad, negative traits. I want you to now think about and see the good in that person. After 3, breathe in and see that good. 1, 2, 3. Breathing in, seeing the good in that person. Something that's good, something that's real, something that's true, something that's lovely, that's emanating light. I want you to see that good in that person overtake and almost encompass them. That sadatov, that side of good. And as you see that person in your mind's eye now, I want you to see them enclosed in that good thing, in the goodness. And now finally, one step further. I need to imagine there's a mirror in front of you and you're looking at yourself. Look at yourself now in the mirror. If you actually have a mirror in front of you right now, even better. You can even look in the mirror if you have one there. And I want you to see now something really good about yourself. Something really good about yourself. If you're brave, you want to go a bit further, maybe something you haven't noticed about yourself before, or something that you try and play down, but something that's really genuinely good. I want you to find that good in yourself. See that good, something good in you. And I want you now to try and turn up the light, so to speak. And once again, enclose yourself in that feeling of goodness. Identify with that goodness. Let it sort of emanate out from you like a ray of light, this goodness. And feel that love and feel that sense of joy of knowing the goodness which is innate. And as you look in that mirror and look back at yourself, I want you to tell yourself the following words. I want you to tell yourself, as you look in the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror. I love and approve of myself. Look in the mirror and say it again. Whether the mirror is in your mind's eye or if it's actually physically there. I want you to say to yourself, I love and I approve of myself. And yes, there may be some things that aren't great there. There's some things that like are holding you back, you think. But I want you to be like Hashem and choose to see the good. Choose to see the good. Right now, forget about any of the bad. Choose to see that good and love that good and feel connected to that good. And say it again. I love and approve of myself. I love and approve of myself. I'm choosing to see the good. I'm choosing to see the good within me. I'm choosing to love myself. Because when I love myself, I can love others. And when I love others, I can be out in the world, be in any situation, and be in a world of joy and happiness and light. I love and approve of myself. To stay there for a few more seconds, just reveling in that sense of feeling that goodness and loving that goodness. And realizing, my friends, that this is a choice that you can make. To choose the good, to choose to see the tzad hatoiv, because that, my friends, is the secret to happiness. It's inside out. You could be in the darkest place and you can choose to see the good. And if you choose to see the good, you will be happy. You choose to see the good, you will live a life of joy, even when things are hard. Because you can see the love and the joy within yourself, the good within yourself. You're cleaning your windows and you're seeing the good in everyone else as well. Why is it we struggle so much to love others? Because we can't love ourselves. Why can't we love ourselves? We can't see the good in ourselves. So let's stop living that kind of life and let's start seeing the good in ourselves. Let's start living a life where we see that good and enjoy that good and celebrate that good instead of beating ourselves up the whole time and being critical. So just be in that moment of love and respect and joy and happiness and light. And take 3 big deep breaths in. Hold. And then breathe out again. Just feeling so good right now. Take a big deep breath in. Hold. And then breathe out again. One last time. Big deep breath in. Hold. And then big deep breath out. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready to re-engage, but don't lose that sense of goodness and joy. Don't lose that mantra that you love and approve. Let it stay with you now as long as you want it to. Okay, guys, whenever you're ready, you want to come back in the room, you can lightly tap yourself. You want to keep your videos off for whatever reason. You feel that you'll prefer that, totally up to you, of course. And yeah, welcome back to the room. That was quite, I think, a deep meditation. Everyone else feel that was went quite deep for them a bit?
Yeah, I started to fall asleep, and I whacked my head against the radiator, and it sort of brought me back into it. So yeah, it's very familiar.
The radiators is good. We love the radiator.
Yeah, it's good.
Anybody want to share maybe something how that went for them? That was hard. That was easy, how they're feeling right now. It's a little bit raw. It's a bit new still. Like we've just been through that together. So what I'm going to do is let's just. What I want to say to you is like this. You know, okay, that's the first time I've done that kind of meditation with you guys, going like a little bit deeper in that way. But I think the point I'm trying to really sort of exaggerate here is just the idea that we can make that choice. And so much of the negativity that we see in others, it's that window, is we see negativity in ourselves. And we're just projecting the negativity within ourselves to others. So we have to start looking for the good. And the way you do it is by actually actively looking for the good and noticing the good. So here's my challenge for you all. Everyone up for this? Anybody like to have more of this in their lives? Yes, no, maybe? They want more of this in their lives? More positivity, more good feeling? Yes, no? Some people aren't sure, I can see. Anyone not want this kind of feeling of like goodness, right? So take a look here. What I'd suggest. I think that I'm not going to go this whole thing now about journaling, but one thing I think we can do is the following, yeah? Take a notebook somewhere. I'm asking you guys to do this. I'm going to ask you next week. So please, I know that like we tell ourselves, yeah, I'll do it, but I really think it'd be a good idea to put yourselves in the situation where you can do this. I'll send this to each and every one of you as well. I know who's been on the class, so I'll send this to you. Right, for the next week, and every day except Shabbos, I want you to note down, they can be on your phone, it can be in a notebook, whatever, anything that you did right today. Could be one, could be many. Make a special note of the ones that were difficult to achieve. So what did you do? Something that you did right today, something good, something you're proud of that you did today, and write it down. Okay? So anything that you did right today, something that was good for you today. Like I say, one thing you did right, but just make note of it and special note things that are difficult to achieve. And when you've written it down, just feel good about it. Feel good, right? Feel good that you're noticing the good things that you've done, the good things that you're achieving. And then I want you to write down 3 new things that you are grateful for every day. Try if you can, 3 new things that you're grateful for. Doesn't have to be 3 new things. I'll take that off. You know what I'm reading is I wrote that. So just 3 things. Do the same thing again another day, but just notice 3 things that you're grateful for every single day from now till next Wednesday. Okay, and then I'll also send you the mantra, this lovely mantra. Every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. Okay, so what was that good for you today? I'll send this to you, and you can have it, those 3 things. And I think that if you do this for a week, this is, again, the whole in the School of Positive Psychology, this is what we're talking about. Your brain, it's plastic, right? You can rewire it. You start seeing good, you start feeling good, you notice the good in yourself. You notice the good in yourself, you start noticing good in others. You start noticing you're making choices. You start seeing that happiness is your choice. And then you go forward and you start to live a more positive, happy life. And I tell you now, there's nothing that can impact your life in a greater way. You know, this idea of relationships, you know, spouses, etc., etc. You have that joy. And we're going to take it forward. Next week, we're going to go even further. We're going to delve up. I'm going to give you another amazing tool next week as well, please God, in this whole area. The tool of Emunah and Bitachon. We're going to bring it up a higher level spiritually and start talking about other levels to really bring more happiness and more joy, and getting away from anxiety, getting away from depression, getting away from bad feeling. because we can take that choice, we can do it. Guys, it's been absolute joy and pleasure. Anyone feel they want to share something now? I always like, again, it's very hard for me because I'm here and you're all on the screen. And
Can I say one?
Best meditation you've ever done. It's really good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
When you said try and think of someone that you have a problem with, think about something positive about them. I've never actually sat down and thought of it like that. It was a lot more impactful due to the mental state that I was in to really think about something positive about someone. Like, I think I do quite a lot, but it was just that much more, it was deeper.
Amazing. That's because you had kavanah, you had focus. So much of the things we do in our life, we just do without thinking. But like when you have kavanah and you're focusing on something, it becomes real for you. It becomes something that actually, becomes alive. It becomes alive. You notice it in a much deeper way. And that's what meditation, meditation isn't about switching your brain off. It's about focusing your brain in a deeper way. So thank you, Ben. That's exactly what we're trying to achieve here with like a more deeper focused appreciation. Imagine if we did this every day. If you did this every day and meditated in such a way, and just we'd all live in such the whole world would be different. I think they tried that once, didn't they? There's a whole, I don't know whether you believe it or not scientifically. They went to Washington once, a whole bunch of people who just meditated every day. In like bunch of people in Washington D.C. They see it would influence like the government. There's something to that. There's the rebels that talk about this idea that you can send positivity overseas. You can send positive thinking to people in other places. Anyone else want? Thank you. But anyone else want to share something before we just say goodnight? No, not for the moment. Okay. I hope that was helpful for you guys and added like something, positive and something to think of. So I'm just going to ask you now to do the work. Let's all meet next Wednesday night. There's more stuff I want to go through. There's more things I want to discuss. There's plenty more to go. But I think if you do the work, please, can everyone like sort of semi-commit to doing that, to try and do that every day for the week next week? Yeah, ish. Without too much Rabbi telling me to do stuff. But if everyone like kind of just tries, I think it could be really, really powerful. Because then next week, I really want to start next week by going through that and how that was for you. And Ben, like you just said, kavanah, do it in a focused way. Don't just be like, oh yeah, like I felt something nice. Like, oh gosh, it's the class in 5 minutes. Better write something down quickly. Rabbi Dov's going to ask me. So just instead of doing that, because guys, I was also at school. But do the work, and then it'd be really interesting to see how that impacted you. If honestly, studies say that if you do it for 21 days, if you do it 21 days in a row, like you will start rewiring your brain and start seeing more positivity and happiness. So let's start doing it together. Okay, gang. If you want to write to me personally also, I always like the feature just to know where it's going. If you like, or also, honestly, if there's things you didn't enjoy and you found difficult, it's helpful for me. And one day when you're all teachers, you'll see how hard it is to give a class, especially meditation over Zoom. So, guys, thank you so much. And I will see you all, please God, next Wednesday night. And looking forward very much, okay? I'm going to go now.
Thank you.
I know, by the way, this is recorded. Also, last week's one is recorded as well. So if you have this, you want to send it to any friends, like if you want friends to join next week, or someone that you feel should be coming, whatever, I've got these all recorded. They're going up onto like a YouTube thing. So if you want these recordings, I'll put them on the WhatsApp group. But if you want to send it to some friends and we can have people come and join also next week if you want to do the catch up, then they're welcome to do it. Bye, gang. See you later, everyone. Have a great week.
Thanks, Salvador.
See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao, ciao. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.